Alright guys, what it do? It's your boy X coming at you guys for another video. And in today's video, we're going to talk about real estate. Why real estate? Because, you know, I actually got somebody in the comments was like, hey, yo, X, can you talk about how you got your first real estate deal? And I was just like, wow, somebody asked me. Of course I got you, bro. So this is me having him, right? Yeah. But, right, we're going to talk about real estate. I'm going to talk about how I got my first rental property, how I got my first house, and what am I actually doing to line myself up to get that third property. So let's get into today's video. Alright guys, so if you're new to my channel, my name is X here. We talk about personal finance, just overall trying to document my growth to richness.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
So let's hope I get there. And the best way, and you know, I can really get there is if you subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video. So if you can do that for me, I appreciate it. But we talking about real estate, and real estate is amazing. I'm just keep it a stack. Real estate is mad nice as far as investing, but it is most definitely a lot of work. I guess we can talk about how I first started. I got my first house in 2019, end of year 2019, like I'm gonna say November, December, somewhere in that time frame. My first house I actually got was $100,000. So when I first got my house, like I said, it was in November, December. It was $100,000. I put 3.5% down. I got an FSA loan, so I put down roughly $3,500. And for closing costs, and if you don't know what closing costs is, that's pretty much the fees you pay to close on the house. I didn't pay any of my closing costs because back then it was a buyer's market, and I was able to get the seller to pay my closing costs for me. So off the rip, if you're trying to do real estate, always ask.
You serious?
Like, at least ask. Like, I know we're coming out of a seller's market, so we could be potentially like ramp it up into another buyer's market, which is great. But even though you're in a seller's market, ask. Because my second house, I bought my second house in a seller's market, and I still got my closing costs covered because I asked. So nothing wrong with asking, at least. You know, tell your realtor that at least ask, right? They deny you, hey, they just tell you no. Not the first time you're gonna hear no in your life, but you never know until you try. So I say always ask. But yeah, so I got my closing costs covered. So literally to get my first house literally cost me $3,500. Far as how I was able to do it, I was at the post office for a while. I didn't have as much drive as I have now, truthfully. But back then I just wanted to get a house. I mean, that was like my life goal. Like, oh, what I want in life. I just want to get me a house so I don't have to rent no more. That was my big thing back then. But it actually did take me a lot to save up that $3,500. But how I initially did it, not gonna lie, not gonna cap, telling the truth, people. I actually, not saying this is financial advice first of all, I just want to let that be. This is not financial advice. They asked me how I got my first rental, and I just want to know, let it be known this is how. I went tax exempt from taxes from my check. And what I mainly did in 2019, before that, I don't know if it was like August, October, but one of those months prior, I get paid every 2 weeks. So in one of those months, I got paid 3 times. Because normally if you get paid every 2 weeks, 2 months out the year, you get three paychecks in one month, right? So I found out which month we be getting those 3 on. The month before that, I literally spent no money. When I say no money, we talking nothing. We talking Tostinos and water. And paid all my bills for that month. And with my second check of the month prior, before I got those 3 checks, took that money and I stashed it. And the beginning of that next month, I took half of that first check and I paid off everything I could. I paid everything. So therefore, those 2 checks that was left and half of the first one, were all mine. And I literally, like I said, I ate Tostinos and just drank straight water. And I was able to save up that $3,500. That's how I got my first house, believe it or not. Now, after I got that first house and I realized like, yo, I have a house. I have a house. Nothing extremely fancy, nothing of the sorts. I went out and I got a house that was literally painted yellow and brown. No cap, my house that I bought was yellow and brown. I had no idea, like they fashion sense back in the day, but my house was yellow and brown. But I got that house, I was able to go in, repaint the whole house a neutral color gray. Luckily the floors were hardwood, like actual hardwood, so I looked up on that one, really wanted to try it. It had a sunroom in there, clutch, and I think the only other thing I actually did to the house myself, I replaced the sunroom carpet. I repainted the entire house gray. I swapped out the actual toilet and the actual vanity for the bathroom. Repainted the tub and the tile. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I did to that house. And then, you know, 2020 happened. And yeah, man, that house just went up in value, something crazy. So that was my first house. But in the midst of me doing that, that's when I learned like, hey, I need to find a way to never lose my house. Why? Because that's what people do. Like, I know my mom had a house, we had a house at one point and we ended up losing because, you know, things happen, right? So I wanted to make sure, hey, I finally got a house after doing all this. I don't want to lose it. And that's when I really started diving into my personal finance and learning everything I can. And I realized that I can do more. But in the midst of me trying to learn how to do more, of course, I started watching more YouTube channels, started reading more articles. I started reading all the beginner books of, you know, personal finance, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think Rich, Grow Money, James Clear. You know, I started reading all these books and really diving in like personal finance. And I came across the YouTuber Beat the Bush. And then Beat the Bush led me to Andrew Jick. And Andrew Jick led me to Graham. And then Graham led me to meet Kevin. Now, I'm a big Graham fan. I'm even in his mentorship group. Wonderful guy, great guy. The man is phenomenal. But I think I love Meet Kevin. Shh. Now, hear me out. Meet Kevin is broken as a person. Like, my work ethic, I see a lot of people tell me my work ethic is like outrageous. Meet Kevin to me has dominating like energy. Like, that guy is so broken. But in one of his videos, he said that the best way to grow your money is through real estate. And I was like, I don't know. It's, you know, it would be so much going wrong with it, this and third, whatever. But then, like I said, I kept looking into real estate. And then one of his videos in particular, he was saying how to grow your real estate. And he talked about how you can have one primary. You can live in said house for 1 year, and then you can move to a new primary. And when you move to a new primary, you don't have to put down 10%, 20%, like, you know, you can actually move into a new primary resident, which is 5%.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I didn't know that. I just assumed, you know, everybody talks about 20, 25% down to get you a rental property. And when you're looking at the price of houses, even if the house was just $100,000 and they asking you for 20%, that's $20K. And you still got to worry about closing costs, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking I need like 30, 40,000. And that's if I bought a $100,000 house, which then it ain't too many of those around here no more, right? But that was my idea. But you just like, okay, it's going to take me a while to save up for. Until he made the statement about switching your primary to a new primary. And when I started diving into that, it was true. You can actually do that. And that's how I acquired my second house. I saved $250 per paycheck, and I was doing dividend stocks at the time. Come to the end of 2020, Of course, everything in the stock market went up. My dividends was creating me dividends. I had saved $250 per paycheck. Coming into the end of the year, my dividend portfolio was worth a decent amount. I had saved up about $5-6K at the end of that year, and I went out and looked for a new primary between 100 and 200K. I ended up finding one for like 143. Believe it or not, 143. He had just got the house. They had was redoing the inside. They were waiting for the windows to come in because in Memphis we had like a shortage of windows for whatever reason, right? In the midst of waiting for those windows, they didn't paint yet. So when I saw the house, it was unpainted, and a couple of windows were broken. One had a hole in it, like a little pinhole, like probably that big, and a couple of them were cracked. But the windows weren't in, the house was unpainted, and I was like, that house looked nice. Got my realtor to ask the dude about the house, whatever the case may be. He was like, he's gonna put up for sale. And I was like, I will take it as is. Windows not done, paint not done, if you cover my closing costs. Guess what? He took it. I ended up getting my second house. Windows weren't done. He paid my closing and the house was unpainted. I literally got the house May, I think it was around May, June-ish, maybe, somewhere in there. Got the house, and immediately every day I would go to work from 8, get off at 9, and I would come to the house every day and paint for an hour. So I did that every day until I got majority of the house painted. Majority just the living room, my son's room, and our master bedroom. The other bedroom, I was like, I get to it when I get to it. But once I got all of those painted, we were then able to move in, and I was able to rent out that first house, and that's how I acquired my second house and acquired my first rental. Now, where like far as like the actual real estate, like where do I see it going? I think over the next 6 months, you're gonna start seeing prices drop. Why? They got a rate hike coming up in May, 50 basis. We could see interest rate for houses as high as 6, maybe pushing towards 7%. And if you do, commercial or like actual rental properties, you looking at 7, potentially pushing 7.5. Like that's a lot. But I see prices of houses falling. So me personally, I'm not too worried about the interest rates because they already said interest rates may be high this year, it may be high next year, but 2024 you can start seeing interest rates fall down. But if I can secure a property that's literally, because what I'm watching on Realtor, Zillow, and all these apps, the prices are dropping. People are subtracting 15K, 20K, 30K. Some of the prices of the houses in Memphis are actually dropping. So now I'm looking like, yo, that's a high interest rate, but the price of the house is dropping. And if I can scoop up a decent sized house at a lower price, but I have a high interest rate, I would take it because I can just always refinance 2024, 2025, right? Yeah, I have to pay a high note now, but I'd be able to lock in their property. And that's my ideal on it. That's pretty much what I'm looking to do. I'm just scanning the market for an actual decent sized house that I can lock on, get it, hold it, and I just refinance it later when interest rates actually drop. But mainly looking for a house that's decent price. It's still mad ugly, that I can do some actual renovations on it and actually make it look nice. And that's when I'm gonna jump. Like, I haven't found one yet. I thought I found 2, but I got outbidded. I feel like one dude just all his money at it. I don't know why he bid it so high, but kudos to him. But that's my plan right now. I'm just biding my time, looking for the right deal that I can snag. So hope that answered your question. Whoever asked, I gotta go back and find whoever you are who looked at it. It'll be right here. But I really appreciate you asking questions. Glad I can tell my little story. Hope you like it. Do not forget to like this video. Most definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. And it's your boy X here, and I'm out.